please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance as we get started. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Welcome to the last regular Massena Town Council meeting of the year. Probably the last meeting of the year. Not forever. We'll be back next year, unless something bad happens. We typically start our meetings with a public comment session, 15-minute public comment period. Anyone's allowed to address the board on anything, any topic within reason, of course. We have a few rules. We ask that you keep your, if you have something to say, stand and state your name and address for the record, and keep your comments to 3 minutes, and only comment once within the 15-minute public comment period. So, anybody have anything to say in the public comment period? Okay, no takers, it sounds like. We will then proceed with the agenda. First item up there is the Massena Memorial Hospital update. Mr. Waldman is here from the hospital. Bob, I'll turn things over to you.
Good evening. Some of you were at our board meeting this past week, so some of this will be repetitious. In fact, Mr. O'Shaughnessy might be able to I might be able to channel through Mr. O'Shaughnessy.
I was going to say, I might be able to remember some of them.
Yeah. So just a couple of items as an update. We just finished the month of November, and we had another positive operating gain that was driven by admissions, medical surgical admissions, which were slightly more than last year, November. We still do have a weakness in our obstetrics program, and that's primarily because most of the year we've only had one obstetrician. We do have a new obstetrician who started 3 months ago, Dr. Jeff Greenberg. I just met with him today, and his office practice is building, so I expect in the next 6 to 8 months our obstetrical volume will come back somewhat. In terms of finances, we ended as I said, the month on a positive gain. And year to date, we're ahead of our budget gain and ahead of last year by quite a bit. So through November, our operating gain is $1.1 million. We had budgeted a gain of $900,000, and last year at this time we had a very slight gain of $41,000. So there's a lot going on, and it's been a reasonably good year. December is always a difficult month to predict. For instance, the past several days we've had as few as 5 patients in the hospital total. Today we have 7. So it's going to be hard to anticipate what December
It's the holidays. Nobody's time to get sick, Bob.
Well, I've been in other towns where around the holidays everybody comes in and gets their elective surgical procedure done, and people do get sick. And I notice your counselor is ill, and just a word of warning: there is a lot of flu. So if you didn't get your flu shot, stay out of crowds. Don't shake anybody's hands. Wash your hands after you shake them. You know, it's the same rules. So, but December, we'll see how December works out. I do want to comment on a couple of new doctors. Part of our November results are reflective of the fact that we have a new cardiologist, Dr. Denier. That's through an arrangement with the UVM Health Network. She's just a joy to work with, and our cardiology office practice is up about 8%. And also our medical group, I just met with our 2 new family practice physicians, Dr. Barreto and Dr. Prianos. Their practice is building. They started with us in August, and likewise, I think they're going to be very successful here. And our surgical group volume is up almost 5%, and that's reflective of the fact that we recruited Dr. Dalkeith Facey earlier this year. And Dr. Facey his practice has built and continues to build. So we spent a lot of time and energy on trying to restock physicians, and I gave a report to our employees last week. If you include the physicians we've hired and the new physicians in our contract groups, we have this year brought on close to 18 new physicians. So that's quite a feat, takes a lot of effort. We are currently in the hunt, as I say, for an ENT surgeon and orthopedic surgeon, and we believe we're going to have some good news on both of those recruits in the next month or month and a half. And we have aggressive plans for next year, including some more subspecialists. So we're very active in recruiting physicians so we can provide the services this community requires. Let me talk about three things specifically the council may be interested in related to conversion, but before I do that, let me also just step back a minute and talk about the things we're concerned about. You've seen the news stories about the Medicare clawback. That's money that Medicare paid the hospital for what's called the low volume adjustment over 3 years, 10, 11, and 13. I'm sorry, 11, 12, and 14, which totaled about $4 million of Medicare revenue, and now Medicare has come along and asked for $1.6 million of it back. So we already spent the money, and now they want $1.6 million back. They've done this to 15 other hospitals in New York State and several hospitals in Maine. We've been very public about it. We're not the only ox who's getting gored, but this is the kind of thing that happens all the time that makes it difficult to predict the financial results. And then more troublesome are things that could happen at the federal level. Two things specifically. There's two pieces of legislation that expire in 2017. One is the sole community provider designation. That's a federal designation. That law expires, as I said, in 2017. It has to be renewed. If it's not renewed, there's a likelihood that $4 million of our revenue will disappear overnight because as a sole community provider, we benefit from an increased Medicare revenue. And likewise, there's a piece of legislation that's called the 340B program. This is a program that was instituted several years ago to assist hospitals in buying high-cost drugs. We get a discount through that program. That totals $1.5 million to us. That legislation has to be renewed next year as well. If it's not renewed, if those two are not renewed, $6 million comes out of our revenue stream. I don't know whether it's going to be renewed or not. Your guess is as good as mine. The tea leaves don't look too good because the incoming administration, I think at least publicly, has said they want to cut the budget. They want to cut this, they want to cut that. Whether or not they're able to do that, I don't know. So while we've done well this year, we're always mindful that the upcoming year and future years can continue to be challenging. So that's my cry wolf period. Now let me talk about the conversion. We did reach a bit of a milestone in that the state did approve our application to establish a nonprofit corporation. That was done on December 8th. So we now are moving along the road to filing the IRS tax forms, and that will take us 6 to 8 months. Once the IRS recognizes the corporation, then we will actually ask the Department of Health to transfer the license to the new nonprofit corporation. And so that's probably not going to happen until the end of summer, early next fall. At the same time, we know we have the asset transfer agreement process that we have to get moving on that, and that's a negotiation. And I expect that you as counselors will be involved in that over the next several months. I know our law firm has talked to your attorney, at least in a very preliminary way, and I expect that over the next month or so, those conversations probably will become much more substantive. So we're anxious to get through that process. The final two things I'd point out: the bond repayment, $5.8 million, is essentially done. The checks were cut by the state to the escrow agent on 12/15, So there's $5.8 million in state money that's sitting in an escrow account, and by the bond contracts, it has to sit there for 30 days, so it'll actually pay the bonds off January 15th. So then the long-term debt will be expunged. And the final item is affiliation. The Board of Managers has whittled down the potential affiliate institutions to 2, and there's a subgroup of the board that is making site visits. We had a site visit last week. 4 board members went to visit one of the locations that's one of the institutions that's affiliated with the big system, one of the 2 we're talking to, and we'll have another site visit to a different affiliate on the western part of the state January 5th. So my hope is that after these site visits are done, that by the end of January, the board will make a decision and focus in on one large system with which we will then have hopefully some fairly substantive conversations about how the affiliation relationship might work. So we still got a lot of work to do there. So December normally is a quiet month in hospitals, but we have a lot going on. So I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Do we have a name for the new co yet, the new company, the new corporation?
No, we're still working, we're still working with NewCo. We don't have a new name.
And do you have to have, when you go to the IRS, do you have to have a name?
There will, I believe the answer to that is yes. I don't have the answer yet what the name's gonna be. It's likely to be NewCo MMH, or it might still be MMH.
Okay.
The board's had some conversation about names, but that was back in October, so we really haven't come back to that. So we will eventually have to have a name. Right now, we're using NewCo and MMH interchangeably.
Okay.
Is there any truth to the rumor Joe Gray's buying up all the massena Memorial Hospital coffee cups so that they'll be worth something?
Yeah. And John's gonna sell them on eBay.
Yep.
I have 5 in my credenza. I use them. I never.
I don't have any.
But I want to forewarn you.
Joe, I have.
I don't wash them. After I use them, I just stick them up there, and then I pour another cup of coffee in them. So they could be a little grungy, but I could make a deal for you.
Unrelated to that, there is some funds on the unclaimed funds on the comptroller site that belong to the hospital. I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them actually.
Right.
Is that something you plan on claiming, or is it minuscule that it's not worth?
It's in terms of our total operation, it's relatively small. We do intend on claiming them, but it's relatively small dollar number. I think it's $75,000. I mean, it's significant, so we intend to claim it.
I would think so, okay.
Yeah.
Actually, you have something there too, Joe, from BJ's, unclaimed.
I do?
Yeah.
Oh, cow.
No, Messina Volunteer Fire Department does too. Yeah. So, I guess, otherwise, if you think you might have some money out there, get on the unclaimed funds for the comptroller's office and see what you have out there.
My 75K?
Maybe, I don't know,
Holy cow.
could be.
I remember shopping on that to be here. Okay. All right, anything else? Thank you very much, Bob, appreciate it.
Thank you. Merry Christmas, happy holidays.
Okay, we have been in the process of negotiating a franchise, well, negotiating is kind of a weak term for what's happening. Trying to get a new franchise agreement with Time Warner. We have been, I think, 2 years without one, and we engaged a law firm to do that for us. They represented us through this process. They told us, yes, we've got a new agreement. We really have very little power in this whole process. The main thing that we've been doing through the process is an audit of past payments to the town for franchise fees to make sure we've received all the franchise payments we should have received. They're still in finishing up that audit, but they came to us with a final agreement. We agreed to do the franchise for 5 years. The agreement was negotiated as a 10-year agreement. Time Warner Charter is saying, no, that was a unilateral change, we don't accept 5 years. Our attorneys would like us to reconsider and backtrack and rescind the five-year franchise agreement and proceed with a 10-year franchise agreement. It doesn't change much. I think, our thought was that we do 5 years because there's so much that's in transition, but this isn't an exclusive agreement for Time Warner anyway. I mean, other companies can come in and compete. We see a lot of satellite dishes in the village, in the town, so it doesn't stop anybody from going with something other than Time Warner. So I made you aware of this in an email. I wanted to have a discussion here and see what your thoughts are on changing our stance to go with a 10-year agreement.
I'm more comfortable with a 10-year agreement, however, as you say, it is non-exclusive. The customer still has a range of options, but with the technology changing the way it is and the ownership, and these things change the way they do, 10 years is a long time.
I think in 10 years, cable will be obsolete. I mean, we're seeing it now with Roku and all these other different things that people can find television. I don't know how much longer cable's gonna be pertinent anywhere, but. So.
Can you have more than one agreement with more than one company, or is it just?
Yeah, because this isn't exclusive, so certainly if somebody else wanted to come in and, provide cable, we certainly could have two, yeah. Which I would love. I'd love to have the option. There's very little competition in the cable industry in New York State. Very little. So, I think what the attorney, I think, is basically saying is that they're gonna have to go back and totally renegotiate, to try to get them to agree to a 5-year. He doesn't think they will agree to a 5-year.
So what happens if they don't?
We just want to have a franchise agreement.
If we don't have any?
Right now, we don't know.
This has been ongoing, I think, for how many years?
Long time.
2 or 3.
Yeah.
That was, it's expired, I don't know, I forget how many years ago, quite a while.
I think we've gone day to day, year to year, with no franchise, day to day with one, year to year with another, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, we did 1 year, a couple times, I think.
So what's the disadvantage of not approving this?
I don't think we'll ever settle ever resolve the franchise fee and their possible underpayment. I don't think there'll ever be money coming forward for underpayment of franchise fee. I think the settlement of that portion is contingent upon the new franchise agreement.
At one point in time, we were, probably still are entitled to monies from the franchise agreement. However, at one time, if we took that, then they placed that on the customer.
If we increase.
The customer bore the burden of that.
We are right now getting a franchise fee
Yes.
every year.
We are.
Right,
So by not agreeing to that, are we not getting that?
no, we'll still get, the terms of the old franchise agreement stay in place,
All right.
and that's why they continue to pay us. What we won't get is any money that if the audit shows we are due money for underpayment in the past, I think that's bundled in with the new agreement. Them paying that. They'll agree that they underpaid us and they'll pay it, if we agree to the franchise.
And who determines that they underpaid us?
Our law firm is working on that right now.
We're having an audit done.
Yes, they're doing it, yeah. The law firm's doing it.
I forget, is there any idea how much it was?
Well, we engaged them for an amount of $12,500, the law firm. They were confident they would recover more than what they cost us.
So as we go on with this, the law firm's bill is gonna increase above that 12.5, or, losing money by holding off, or?
Was that the total amount, Nancy, do you remember?
I do not, but, every time they, need more money, they have to come back and propose another agreement.
Right,
So whatever we agree upon, that's it at this point,
Right.
there's more.
right, the 12.5. Time Warner, I make no bones about it. I think they're bully, and I think they make us buy things we don't want. I think we pay more than we should. But quite frankly, the franchise agreement really has no power either way. It's a piece of paper. So I don't worry a whole hell of a lot about us extending it to 10 years. We may get criticized, people don't like it, but why'd you do another 10-year deal, but it doesn't change anything. Because it's not exclusive, anybody else can, if there's ever gonna be competition, it certainly can still happen. And I don't see where we hurt anybody by doing a 10-year agreement. So I would entertain a motion to, if someone's willing to rescind our previous, support for a 5-year franchise, to change it to a 10-year franchise, and to move forward with the 10-year franchise agreement with Time Warner / Charter.
So 10 years going forward, or 10 years including the previous?
That'll be retroactive, I think.
Okay. 7 years or whatever.
Right. So, anyone wanna make that motion?
I will.
Okay, and is there a second? I'll second it, someone else will. Okay, we've had a fair amount of
I
discussion.
always get nervous when you have to second my.
As do I. We've had discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Abstention. Oh, one opposed, okay. Any abstentions? All right, very good. We also have in our packet, a number of town, March through, the end of, November. Need a resolution to approve those. Motion for a second.
Second.
Second, any discussion on that? I've talked to Pam to see if we might be able to change some of the way we do our agendas as far as timing, but also, maybe we can also work on something different with it, and see if we can get the minutes turned a little quicker too. Yeah, I know you're still,
This is a new year.
yeah, okay. All
And
right.
this gets you all caught up basically, right?
It is, yes.
Yeah. Okay, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Resolution to close the town credit card accounts at Key Bank and open, new accounts at, MBT Bank beginning January 1 of 2017.
So move.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Any discussion or no?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, discussion.
I just wondered why, I guess. I mean,
Why are we making the switch? The rationale has been that we do the bulk of our banking at MBT, I believe. And what else am I forgetting, Nancy? Oh.
There's just been too many difficulties with.
Oh, we've had some problems
with
there as
Quebec,
well.
and things just aren't getting done,
And so the hope is that MBT will be a little more attentive.
just wondering why.
they are.
Sure. Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Resolution to replace the town postage machine in the town clerk's office. It's 10 years old, and the lease expires in February of 2017. A company called NeoPost recommended it be replaced every 4 to 5 years, so we're behind. The current monthly payment is $104.53. The new payment will be $109.48 for 63 months.
So move.
Second.
Motion is second, discussion.
We've been paying on that for 10 years? Previous one?
Yeah, it's a rental thing,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Yes.
Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Abstention, motion carries. Resolution to renew the court officer agreement with the village of Massena at a cost not to exceed $5,000, expiring 12/31/2016. Will that be,
Well, it's just expiring this year, so.
what's expiring now? Okay, authorize the supervisor to sign the same. So it's to renew it for a year, right? Through 12/31/17. Okay, is there a motion?
I'm gonna abstain from this, I believe, I have a feeling I was involved in that.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions,
Aye.
motion carries. Next up, a resolution to accept or reject the dormitory authority of the state of New York grant for the purchase and installation of a handicapped lift at the Massena Public Library, project ID number 8427, the amount of $75,000, and authorize the supervisor to sign all documents. If you remember, Senator Griffo came up and made an announcement that it was able to find some funding through the dormitory authority to replace the broken wheelchair lift at the library, and the paperwork arrived yesterday. Do you have a motion to accept that?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second, discussion.
We skip one? We skip one?
No? Check them all off now. All those in favor,
Court, agreement.
so we did that.
We just did this.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, abstention, motion carries. Okay. We also need to set the annual reorganizational meeting. We're proposing that we use a Wednesday, the first Wednesday of the month, it typically is, for the new year, which would be January 4th at 5:30 p.m.
So moved.
Motion, is there a second?
Second.
Motion, second, discussion. Everybody knows what this is about, right? When we do make the appointments and all that kind of stuff. 5:30. Did I say 5? 5:30. Okay, no further discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, abstention, motion carries. We have, bills, we have any transfers?
Yes.
I haven't looked yet, we do. We have a motion to approve the, transfers and amendments that are in your packet.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion. A number of these are, as usual, are housekeeping transfers from one account to the other for different things. Nothing out of the ordinary, right?
We're closing a bunch of accounts at.
I see that, yeah,
They were airport grants that all closed out, so.
okay. Those are all the ones we're closing, all right. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, abstention, motion carries. We also need to pay the bills, warrant number 12.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second, as audited by Councilman Nicola and Miller, want to make sure they get credit.
Yeah.
And they said they were willing to do it for the next 10 years.
Absolutely not.
Miller wants out, can you believe it? All those in favor of paying our bills signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, abstention, motion carries. Okay, committee reports.
Joe, we're gonna, reappoint any of the positions that are expired 12/31, we're gonna do that in the organization
We'll
meeting.
do those in January, yeah. Pam just included those in your packets so you're aware of.
Okay, I reached
What's
out
coming
to
up?
quite a few of them actually, and, I guess I'll just send an email out to the ones I reached out to, and
Okay.
that way we're not, everybody's
Sure.
in contact.
Yeah, make sure everybody's interested, yeah.
Make sure you can say, because I've asked several.
Okay, well, we'll get together, we'll prepare our notes.
Good, okay. That's the way it's supposed to work. Okay, committee reports, airport and highway. Frank, you've been awful quiet, what do you got for us?
Trying to keep quiet.
Good.
Obviously, winter is different than the last couple of years. So far this year, same time period from November, December to the date, we've actually worked 83 more hours of overtime. We turned our wheels 9 more times compared to last year. We were out 9 more times. And we've already doubled our usage in salt, and we've already spent $26,000 more for salt than we did last year at this time.
At this time, okay.
The airport, as far as the airport, as far as what we do, everything's fine there. Cape Air struggled this week. Obviously, there's a weather issue on Monday with the freezing rain, but at one point, they had 3 planes there on Tuesday, trying to get one of them to fly. So, I think they finally got one to go.
Okay, that's it? Rescue squad.
They had their regular
minute, so that's vacant, and the other office is carried over. They have been looking at some security upgrades to improve their accessibility or their logging for their drug room. They keep all their supplies. And also they're looking at upgrading all the exterior doors and the doors to the officer's office. They're also looking at installing some CCTVs, closed circuit, around the exterior. And that's it for open session.
Have you, heard any, have you seen the plans at all, Frank? Have you?
Nope.
I've heard about them, I've not seen
Well,
them.
remember, they gave me the whole package, and I talked to you about it, and you said
Yeah.
that you wanted them to come meet with you
Right.
first. and
Right,
He called me again, wanted to know what I thought, I said, you need to meet with Joe first.
okay, I've not heard of that. Okay.
It was quite a chunk of money.
Yeah.
Okay. All right,
The,
They, oh, go ahead.
it had to be, the job would have to be bid.
yeah, oh, I don't doubt that. They want closed circuit, oh, we'll talk about it.
They want to upgrade their whole security
I
system.
understand that, you know, it's, want, need, sometimes are different, but,
Well, I wanna go to a card reader type system. So they would be able to log who came in, when, et cetera.
okay. I look forward to seeing it. Hospitals next. I couldn't make the meeting one day.
I made the meeting and I had, Mr. Walden explain everything that went on.
It was adequate?
It was,
Okay, good, that's good. MED,
MEDs, at the meeting last week, a resolution came up, submission of an application for 2016 zero-emission vehicle infrastructure municipal rebate grant funding. What that all means is they're looking to, the DEC is looking to install an electric vehicle changing station, charging station. This is an 80-20%, DEC is 20%, MED is 20%, 80%, 20%, and MED's contribution is mostly support and materials. Okay, the partnering agency will be the village for this reason. If the town becomes the lead agency in this, we as a town are subject to PSC permission. The village is not. Okay, no money changes hands, so it would be in the municipal parking lot simply because it's larger than our parking lot. Our parking lot could not accept this.
so it'd be in a lot out back.
It would be in a
which is
lot out
village
back
owned.
for that reason, so, and MED accepted this.
You know what? And I've never asked anybody about this. There was a bunch of grants for electric vehicles for municipal or every. And it's always struck me as odd that they don't have electric vehicles, quite honestly. And I don't think St. Lawrence Gas has any natural gas vehicles here in town either, which strikes me as odd. But, so maybe you could ask the question of MED, would it make sense for them to look at having some electric vehicles? Obviously, I don't think the line trucks could be electric, but if they have smaller vehicles, at some point, does it make sense for them to transition those over to electric?
I'll ask.
Okay, anything else for MED? Library?
Quite a bit of it was executive session, we talked about that after, our regular meeting here. They were gonna proceed with an energy audit, I've asked them to look at the MED energy audit, but they have somebody from the libraries to, come in and, do it for free as well, so let them have a, go at it and we can go from there. One thing I was kinda interesting is, with their business center, they're gonna
Frank, can we, we need to check into it, I think once we sign these documents with the dormitory authority, we kind of get started on
That's,
the lift,
I,
the elevator. So, but we need to make sure, and, you know, and what the senator told us was that once we sign the document with GOSNI, that we can, in essence, start the work, and then we would get reimbursed. But if we started work before signing the agreement, we wouldn't get reimbursed, so I think it would just make sense for us to start, so we'll double check on that, and, get started on that, just to get that ball rolling.
all I, what we talked about, Joe, was obviously CNS
Sure.
would, including, it would be part of that cost. They would put a package together for us to put out to, for bid,
Yep.
and, they would help us perform the engineering side of it, and we can get started.
Good,
So I just gotta make sure that it's all approved.
okay. Museum. Anything new there?
They had their dinner meeting at the club, you know, Sam or I went to.
Okay. That was
I did, just a little follow-up on the building at 200 East Orvis Street. It's still,
We've had one offer, the last I knew, we were waiting for confirmation of financing from the offer,
exactly.
and we haven't heard anything back
And
yet.
that was one of the items that we had countered back, is that there would be a bank approval.
Right,
They're working on that, and in the meantime, as the real estate agency continue to show
good.
to their prospective customers.
Recreation,
Recreation's fine, their revenues are up considerably, the winter season is in full swing.
good. BBC,
You know, I sent out the email with a list of items that, they've been working on, some of them are confidential, some of them
right,
not so much, but, I think that pretty much well covers. New slate of officers, actually Paul Roof was gonna take over as chairman, and
Okay.
Ron Bacon will be the vice chair.
all right, okay. Good. Chamber of Commerce, I was at the board of directors meeting last week, there's a lot going on, Dave can tell you, they're keeping it pretty busy. There, soon be the annual luncheon, they're making plans for the annual dinner as well, that'll be more toward spring. They're forming a bunch of new committees, we're trying to get some new ideas, just to kind of revitalize the chamber a little bit and get more people involved to the extent they can, and generate a little more revenue for them, so. Talking, one of the committees that I'm on, that I'm excited about is a new event committee, try to come up with some new events. I think they'd like to retire some of the events that maybe, are a lot of effort, but they're old and aren't really generating much new in the way of income for them or as far as the community is concerned, so, I'm looking forward to what may come out of that. So, that's all I have, we have for committee reports, I think. We do need an executive session on a couple different items. One, I believe, is, a contract. Two of them are contract related, so another one is, actually, three of them are contract related, so there's some contracts we're negotiating, not labor contracts, but agreements with outside agencies. So I would entertain a motion to go to executive session, and we won't forget we have, public comment, so. But we'll do the public comment first. Same rules as before, 15-minute public comment period. Got something to say, just stand up and tell us who you are and where you live. Okay? Oh,
Quick question.
Sure.
You mentioned 12,500 during the franchise agreement discussion. Was that what you're paying for the attorney, or is that what they're paying you per the old agreement?
no, that is the, what we've been paying the attorney during this negotiating auditing session. So we're paying them, they came to us, Andy, a few years ago and said, hey, we can help you negotiate, your agreement with Time Warner. These are their words. They had found in previous analyses that Time Warner had underpaid a number of franchise agreements. And we think that applies to Massena. We'd like to represent you in the negotiating and see if we can recover some money that may have been underpaid. And this sales pitch to us was that they will recover more than what the contract costs. So,
Who's the law firm?
my God.
Isn't it Colin?
Yeah, so yes, the Cohen Law Group out of, I think, Pittsburgh, they're Pennsylvania based. We did a contract with them, a couple of years ago now. It's been a while.
Those are, thank you.
Okay. Anything else in the meeting? All right, wake Bob up so we can leave. Okay, any motion to go into executive session for the topics discussed earlier? Gentlemen, any motion to go into executive session?
So,
Your second.
Second.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Hey,
It's
you
the end
guys
of
have
the
to
year.
close out tonight or what?
It's the end of the year.
Action afterward, Joe?
I don't anticipate anything.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas and happy Hanukkah, everybody, yeah, absolutely.